Welcome to Little Talks, your weekly dose of marketing news, trends, and insights from Littlefield Agency. Grab your coffee, turn up the volume, and let's get into it.
Welcome back to another edition of Little Talks with Littlefield Agency. I am Sam Littlefield, and with me is not Roop. You're in for a special treat this week. Roop is doing God knows what in the boonies of Colorado, which sounds fabulous, given the humidity and the heat wave that we have in the Midwest right now. I've got a very good friend, a strategic partner, and a wonderful human, Ben Bring, on via StreamYard. Ben, hello, my friend.
Thanks for having me, Sam. I'll do my best here to stand in as best I can,
Oh, dude. Watch, Cloud. This is going to be our most listened to episode. People, it's good. And by the way, the most listened to episode in the history of Little Talks is when I was on vacation. So
there you go.
It's a good thing. And weirdly enough, sometimes we land new business when Roop is out. So he's like, hey, maybe I start taking more vacations. So we got a great podcast person. If we land some new business, it's just the cherry on top.
Absolutely.
Ben Bring, we have known each other almost 2 years, dude.
Has it been that long already? It goes fast.
Which is just
longer.
Yeah, like it's over longer in a good way, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. It goes without saying.
Well over a year and a half. Ben is the VP of agency growth at a wonderful company called Sabio. We're going to get to that here in a little bit. In a nutshell, they're about app science and creator television. And Ben, you've got a really impressive background, 20 plus years of ad tech experience.
Yep.
You know the agency world, you know the technology side of things.
Yep.
And you and I, when we first crossed paths, you were at a different company. And then we've just, what I love about this, and one thing that I really love, is Ben and I met through Magnet.
Yeah.
And for our listeners that that regularly tune in, you know what Magnet is. For those that are listening today, because Ben is going to blast this to all of his network, Magnet is a independently owned advertising and marketing global network. You have to be independently owned agency. And it is how do you run a better agency? How do you be a better leader? And how do you better empower your employees and better serve your clients? So it's a great thing. Ben and I met 2 years ago in Miami. Awesome job. You, Rainer, right? Your buddy Rainer, which is awesome.
That's right.
And then Ben, about a year ago, you reconnect. You're like, hey, I'm at this awesome new company called Sabio. I had the opportunity to meet Aziz, the founder of Sabio, at breakfast in New York with you in December of last year. But real quick, give us a snapshot of Sabio, and then we'll talk some personal things, we'll talk some professional things.
Yeah, so I appreciate the lead in and having me here to kind of speak to you and all of your audience that you've got going. And so Sabio has been around for about 10 plus years. And as you were kind enough to acknowledge, I've been in the space for a long time myself, and primarily on the startup side of the equation. And even though we've been around for 10 plus years, we're very much that. And what Sabio has kind of been built around inherently is mobile first infrastructure. So if we all remember when the iPhone came out, right, and how important those things are and still are, because lest we forget, they're still in our pockets. They're still the richest source of data that we have about ourselves that is not PII specific in many ways, right? So what we've done is built an entire infrastructure around trying to understand those signals. So the apps that you use, the locations that you visit, the device language settings that you have, and we take those signals and we simply pair them back to a household graph that we've built to try to understand a bit more about what that household is into, whether that's lifestyle, what they do for work and the like for your audience, considering all the B2B work that you do.
Totally.
When we're talking to kind of a mass audience like this, as you've seen at the different Magnet events and the like, we simply say you are what you app for that side of our business, which is the app science side of it. And so I add to that, if you think about how you use your device on a weekend versus a weekday, life stage versus lifestyle, all of these things are indicative, right? And the time spent in apps is wildly greater than the time spent in mobile web. So just to drop a stat or two here and to remind ourselves, right, is 90% of time that we spend in our phone is in some app or another. And so lots of folks might say, well, I'm just in Facebook or Instagram, and that doesn't say anything about that audience. And I totally agree. But what about when they're in Facebook and Instagram and they also have bird watching apps, or they have some sort of app that is requisite to what they do for work, like a technician type app for some of the outdoor work for Generac or something of that nature.
Totally.
So signals that are really simplistic in nature that I'm just trying to kind of bring back to market and get ourselves kind of rallied around, because I think the market can go haywire in a lot of ways where you're trying to find the exact person, the exact signal in the right time. But if we have these PII compliant indicators around the apps that people are opening and the like, we've got a good enough picture to target households. And that's really the work that we're doing with your team and Chris and co. And that's what we've built our app science portion of the business around.
I love it. So we're going to say this 10 times today. You are what you app. I told Ben a year ago, I was like, dude, you got to TM that. Did you guys TM that, by the way? It's so good. It is so good.
Yeah, we did. I mean, again, we spend so much time going into the fragmented and
for
complexity.
Sure.
Let's just really reduce it just down to that. Think about your own usage on a regular basis and the apps that you're in. It's not 150. It's probably like 8 or 9 that say a lot about you.
Absolutely. So let's dive deeper into that. So we have sophisticated marketers that listen to this podcast, and then we have people like myself who are unsophisticated. So let's dummy this down. I've got a bird watching app. Let's say I'm really into, I love tracking planes. I've got a bunch of flight radar, different apps like that. I've got a lot of sports apps. So it runs the gamut. We all have different hobbies and interests. So based off my intent and these usage of apps, like how are you aggregating that data? And then with your clients, which obviously I understand you work primarily with agencies given your function and role, but you also work with, I believe the U.S. Post Office is a client of yours, correct?
Yeah, we do. Yeah, we work with some quasi-governmental agencies and even do some political and advocacy work because the use cases are really endless. And to kind of go back into some of the use cases that you're mentioning, maybe you're a Delta flyer primarily, but the fact that you have that flight radar and flight aware app to kind of track your planes, and you're a little bit of that flight nerd as I am myself. Like the dream job here would have been to be a pilot, if we're being honest. But if anybody has any pilot friends, the salaries aren't quite there, unfortunately, right? But those are those kind of qualitative add-ons, the Boolean logic of the whole thing, right? Yes, you fly Delta. We know this household flies Delta because they're in the app on the regular basis. The frequency with which we see that signal, you can infer that, yes, this person's probably a frequent traveler. But then again, it's that feathering on of these other sorts of inputs. Yes, they've got FlightAware. So now we even think they're more of a business traveler. Plus, they've got apps for Amex travel, Amex business and the like. And these are the things that I think get really interesting and where I really want people to kind of think about. It's not just the one app that is indicative. It can be several of them. And so all of these cohorts and audiences that we work with you and Chris on are really built from the ground up and specific to your use case.
That is awesome. And walk us through, we are an agency. You're working with us as an agency. So, and one thing, right, as we plugged Magnet earlier, you and I got the opportunity to meet at the Media and Analytics Retreat, which was finding best-in-class partners. You and I hit it off, and I was like, hey, Chris, let's go talk to Ben and his team. As you're working with agencies, like, walk us through that process because you've helped us pitch before. We are working with you on campaigns, and by the way, like early stages are really, really good. So just like how are you? What's a day in the life of Ben Bring as you guys onboard new agencies, as you work with great agencies, and also as you build your business within agencies and expand scopes and services?
Yeah, well, listen, it's always trying to find folks like yourself, Sam, and that's why the Magnet Group has been such a boon of good conversation and learning. Like my background, as you mentioned, and I touched on, like startup heavy, but when I was agency side, I was big agency at IPG and the like, and I was fortunate enough to be kind of like a small media mobile first kind of entity underneath it. But getting to understand kind of your world and what, drives your businesses has been invaluable in building our relationship both personally and professionally. So really, I think about that first and foremost is how do I develop the best relationships that I can in the marketplace and then add value incrementally from there, because that's what I see in the room at Magnet with you all is true relationships, right? Built over years and years. So just to plug that back a little bit. Beyond that, where it goes is just, again, the education that we're doing here. It's simply reminding people of how we build audiences, simply getting a use case that is really tangible kind of in their work or personal life. It really kind of comes back to that. So when I talk about really broad use cases, I'll use, well, wouldn't Geico want to know households that are opening up a State Farm app on a regular basis? Because there's only 2 reasons you're really doing that as a household. You're either in market for insurance or you got into an accident and you're dealing with the fallout from it. So that might be a good time for you to reach that household. And in the work that we're doing with your team and Chris and Co., it really is about understanding the technicians that you're looking to reach for a couple of the brands that you work for.
Yes.
So to go to the other end of that spectrum, right? You've got this widely broad use case for competitive in insurance, which spends more money than God. And then you've got, right? It's like, targeting is almost kind of funny in a way, but it's the recency of these signals. Oh man, like this household just opened that app 2 days ago. We'll see that, right? So that's a more valuable signal than somebody who's maybe opening it up 20 or 30 days, ago, give or take. So we'll see those types of recency windows, et cetera. But to come back to the use case that we do with you guys, it's understanding the apps that technicians and folks who are in the field are using on a regular basis. So whether they're HVAC employees or installing garage door openers and the like, there are apps that either their companies are mandating that they use for efficiency and compliance and you name it, right? And then there's apps that their products require to test and maintain them, in the field as well. And so the conversation with me and Chris is, okay, well, who are these folks that you're looking to target? Who are these technicians? And we simply run a kind of a query on these guys. What are the apps that live in their professional lives? And then we run that through our system. And we say, of the people that we see with these apps, we see about 30 or 40,000 targetable households.
Beautiful.
Now that, compared to the mass use case, is very, very niche, and people might balk at that. It's fantastic for us.
Well, it's fantastic, and I look at this, Ben, in the sense of you all can really help us tap into niche audiences. Yeah. Because we live in the world. We now have some clients, many clients, on connected TV that 10 years ago would have never thought about being. No, there's no way we can be on TV. It's just a spray and pray method. No, it's so targetable. It's just incredible.
It is. I absolutely recognize the ads that are meant for me now.
Yes. And by the way, as marketers, we appreciate it, right? When there's something that's so relevant, I'm like, damn, I need to start making a list. I need to go after that. Yeah, guys, you're way off.
Exactly.
So I think that's huge.
Yeah, sorry to cut you off there.
No, please.
Go a little further and say, I think sometimes we go too far with it, right? It's just understanding that they are opening this app. We don't need to know time spent. We don't need to know any PII information.
Yes.
Because that's when you take niche and you go hyper niche if you even want to use that. Now what are we really doing?
Love it.
We're trying to score one of one, and that's not a realistic kind of mindset.
That's a great reminder. And for my agency friends listening to this, to clients, to prospective clients, that is such a good reminder. So Ben, walk us through. You guys, by the way, congratulations, 10 years. That's incredible.
Yeah, you're also 11 now. I mean, it goes fast.
11 now. Lucky 11, and Aziz. And by the way, when we had breakfast in Manhattan with Aziz, Aziz was in LA, and then he was in DC, and then he was like running on 3 hours of sleep. But just a great guy. And give us just a quick story. I mean, to be founded in 2015 in the age of software technology companies.
Yeah,
he had something great. So just give us a quick founding story, because Aziz has built something great, and you guys have. I've always loved the culture of your team and the people that we interact with. But give us a quick story there.
Yeah, I mean, I can take it back because I've known Aziz a long time. We worked together at a shop called Mobile Theory, which was one of the first, brand safe mobile ad networks back in the day. And really, the main thing was we could put you on, New York Times and the like. And so we got to meet each other then. Prior to that, Aziz had been at NBCU and Fox for a while, so he'd been in like big television,
big brands, television.
And so, as he transitioned from big television over to a shop like Mobile Theory, where I was employee 15 and he was like maybe 25 or 30, right? Like it's all hands on deck, going from all the resource in the world to a completely different sell and the like. But what he realized was mobile is mobile, right? For everything that we've been talking about here, linear is got a place in the world. It's still established. It's not going anywhere. CTV obviously is a blending of the two, but really mobile is what he found to be the most compelling source of data to build the business around. And a big part of it also was the fact that he's of Indian descent. So we didn't talk about that much, but this use case for App Science was really predicated as well on the ability to find audiences that have similar makeups to his own. So being an LA-based company sitting in New York and the like, we get a lot of requests for reaching, Spanish-speaking dominant homes. And our toolkit really is built around being able to do that. So understanding those device language settings
That's awesome.
That are at the household. So that kind of brings it pretty broadly, but it really was that mobile first infrastructure. Here's a data set that is just uncomparable to anything else, because me and you, whether we think about it or not, I know we're not, we're inputting into that device every day.
Absolutely.
All of what we're up to, right?
I did it 10 times, not even 10, like 50 times this morning. Yeah, no, for sure.
We don't live without it. And so in those early heady days, the business was really just mobile everything, right? And then the use case around being able to find hard to reach audiences and the like, and the niche applications that we've touched on about. And so, to come all the way back around, how I spend my days reminding people about that, because as we do, and with all the noise in the world, we become complacent around what works.
Totally.
What works is good and recent data when we're talking about audience building, to kind of put a bow on the thought, if that's helpful.
It's so true. And I don't have my phone on me. Who knows where it is? Must be somewhere.
For these, we shouldn't, right?
Right. But like I've done this before. So I'm a weirdo. After if I'm in my Chase banking app, right? As soon as I close out of it, I swipe up to get out of it, because I don't like to have a million, apps open. But then my wife's a crazy person, and she's got 4,000 apps open from the last week. And one day I did this because I'm just curious. And for all of our listeners, you should try this. If you're one to close apps immediately upon being out of them, when you wake up in the morning, You're in the Chase Bank app, you're in ESPN, you're in Flight Radar, whatever. Leave them open for the day. And at the end of the day, look how many apps you've gone through. Because you're right, it's so second nature to us, and you're not, and mostly subconscious.
Right.
And
right.
I mean, dude, I deleted Facebook years ago because I was just like, what am I doing? Like, I love Instagram, TikTok, doing my thing, but I was just like, I'm in these apps 24/7. I got to stop. So it's a good point, Ben. I mean, we live in apps. There's no doubt about it.
We do entirely. And, a lot of that informs the other side of our business, if you were looking to dovetail, which is the creator side of things. So you mentioned like Facebook and the like, and there is a real kind of separation between the two because of the walled gardens that have kind of gone up, but it's also a huge amount of time spent. And so that's why I think, sure, everybody's got Facebook on their device. That's not telling me anything interesting. It's the Facebook plus everything else that becomes really, really interesting, because that's just almost like a benchmark at this point, right?
So true, dude. Well,
we're the anomalies that aren't on it.
Thank God. It's so good.
It's too much noise.
Take me back to the flip phone days, baby. But then again, you guys wouldn't be here, so not those days. So last question here for you, Ben. You've got Aziz in LA. Today, and I should have mentioned this earlier, Ben is in Soho, New York, a beautiful, one of my favorite parts of the city. I'm sorry about the Knicks last night. It's okay. Knicks in 5, baby. We're going for them.
I'll take an extra game, honestly.
Is someone, entertainment purposes, is someone that just got it handed to them from the Spurs. We're going for the Knicks. It'd be legendary.
I appreciate that.
But you've got Aziz in LA. You've got you in New York. You guys are all over the nation, and you also have global employees, correct?
That's correct. Yeah, we have a sizable and growing office in the UK led by DJ Agahi, and we've got about 9 folks over there. And so, we've been in market there for about 3 or 4 years, and it's been great as well. So I think all in all, we're about 150 employees.
Awesome.
So we're not too big, we're not too small. So we're fast at the same time, and we're in New York, LA, Chicago,
it's awesome.
Detroit. Are our main offices here with people dotted around, as we all are now, right, throughout the different markets beyond.
Totally. So here's the plug for Sabio. By the way, Sabio, 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 check them out. Yeah. They've been a partner for well over a year now. Ben's a great person. And whether you are a client or prospective client listening to this, agency friends, go and check out their website. It's to me, Ben, when you and I followed up from Miami, it was worth 30 minutes for Chris Kaiser to talk to you. And Chris is the kind of guy, he sees value in it or he doesn't. And here we are a year later working together.
Yeah. I mean, we all have, to your point, like analytics summits and the like, we all have our sources of truth. So if our audiences are carrying their weight as they should, then great. And if they're not, please give us a chance to kind of optimize them to the point of doing so.
Yes.
And if not, then listen, that's the reality of the media. That's the world we've all been living in for a while. I can't say that my audiences are going to beat everybody else's, but they're certainly not being built this way by anybody else's. The one thing I'll also add is nobody's looking at app usage and device language settings as kind of primary indicators.
Yeah.
And that's why I also think we create a lot of this white space to target against. And so when you talk to your kind of B2B peer set and the like, Sam, and when I talk to them at these events, I always remind them of just how niche these apps are. And to give you another example or two, we have audiences running that are literally meant to target media buyers. So your team, Sam, Chris and Co, and the broader audience here. And the way that we do that is we see which households are opening up the Prisma Media Buying Tools app on a regular basis.
So
about 250,000 of them a month.
So good. I love it, dude. Matt, cast that net, baby. I love it.
So, it's things like that kind of turn the light bulb on a little bit. And you see it happen. I know we're kind of wrapping here, but that's when I get excited and really excited. Me and you are high energy guys, right? But I can see it because I put an audience in front of somebody and they're like, wait, that's me. Cool. Now you're starting to kind of like grasp where we're at. But again, the deals, the audiences, whether it's a PMP or managed, because either for your audience, they have to work. And I'm not here to push you otherwise if they don't. I've been on the buy side and I've been on the sell side.
Well, and I appreciate that as we kind of close here, Ben. He's not a salesy dude. His job is sales. My job is sales. But I think that's where you have thrived in your career. He's trying to have a conversation. To your point earlier, build a relationship, build that partnership.
Right.
It was a couple of months until we got off the ground with you guys, and now we are. Ben's the kind of guy too, and this is what I appreciate, and very similar with our like-minded with our agency, is when there wasn't the right opportunity, it's like, hey, give us a test, like give us the possibility of like working. Just give us a good brief, and let's show you what we can bring to the table. And that was real. I think that's what really opened Chris's eyes of, oh, wow, this is good proprietary data and very relevant for our clients. And our job, as agencies, not only to drive client results, but that we have great partners. We've got Resonate, we've got Mogul in the trade desk, right? You've met all these guys.
Yeah, absolutely.
Wonderful people. And our job is to have them as part of our team. We've invested in your technology, and it is paid off on behalf of our clients. And that's what it's all about, man. It's what we get up and out of bed every morning for.
Absolutely. And you mentioned some of my peer set, right? We're all complementary to each other. We do things differently in a way, and things make sense for different people differently. So like, I'm just excited to be, building this relationship with you all and getting to know your network. Like obviously you always have a place to come work out of when you're here in New York, and anybody from your group does.
And I'm going to take you up on that too.
Dude, please do. I mean, the amount of space, right? Like,
so awesome.
Have your friends just by association alone, Sam. You're a great guy over there. I've learned a ton from you. Like in this, I honestly mean that. We were joking about it before, but this is my first podcast.
First podcast. That's right. You crushed it, dude.
Right? You got to get that one in there, man.
You're natural.
So, I'd love to do more of it with you. So whatever's helpful here, guys.
Absolutely. And I think at the appropriate time too, Ben, maybe as we gear up towards media planning season, right? We go into even deeper detail.
Sure.
You'll get the chance to meet my disappearing Roop over here. And that's a good thing. But Ben, you're a great guy, great person. You're working for a great company. It is a shout out. Ben's son's birthday was yesterday, so happy birthday to your son.
Gosh, I appreciate it. Yeah, Finley Wyatt Bring is 11 years old, and I see media in his future, maybe, but we'll see, man. He's got a long way to go.
It's a lucrative, crazy business, but it's a wonderful place to be. So Sabio, check him out. Ben Bring, BenBring. Look him up on LinkedIn. Yep. And if we were to leave you with one thing, you are what you app, and it's the best line ever.
I appreciate that, Sam. Thanks all for having me and taking a listen.
Ben, great to see you, my friend. We'll talk to you soon. And to our listeners, we are back next week. Roop is back. He's hiking mountains. He's doing his thing. He'll bring that fresh mountain air to our humid state. And we will see you then. Thank you, guys. Ben, thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you very much.
And that's a wrap. We hope you found a spark of inspiration for your marketing strategy. Don't forget to subscribe and follow us at Littlefield Agency to keep the conversation going. Catch you next time.